If I ask you to think about Man United of 2007, you probably think that thrilling penalty shootout, Ronaldo's breakthrough, or their deadly attacking trios. Yet beyond all that, it was during that era where United showcased their best football till date.
Into Rooney. Tevez. Oh, this is great. Ronaldo. Oh, magic.
Opponents who now willing to face United were once feared even seeing them on the fixture. And among all the teams in Europe, it was only Pep's Barcelona that truly stood as a worthy competitor against them. And at that time, Sir Alex applied various interesting concepts that not only helped them to win their third Champions League, but also secured 3 consecutive Premier League titles between 07 to 09. So what exactly were these tactics? And how did these legendary players train with it? Let's check out in this video.
Best team you've ever had?
I think they won the European Cup has to be the best team.
Thanks, Sir Alex.
Well done, gentlemen.
The year from 2013 to the present has been a disastrous for Man United. With each manager's passing, the club has struggled to find a tactical identity that can work beyond a few seasons. But if we travel back 16 years ago, it was a complete opposite scenario. They not just had a system that lasted longer, but it also delivered them back-to-back Premier League titles and a legendary Champions League. And if Pep's Barcelona didn't existed, then United would have clinched 3 Champions League titles in that short span.
I think that in terms of the history of our club, we should have won it more, and I wanted to win it more again.
Also, if they didn't lose to Portsmouth in the FA Cup, then 2007 and 8 season would have been their second treble after 99.
And it's Portsmouth into the FA Cup semi-final, and the treble has gone for Manchester United.
And during that season, Sir Alex favored a classic 4-4-2 formation, with players like Vidic and Ferdinand protecting the backline, Scholes and Ronaldo in the midfield, while Rooney and Tevez as a front two. However, this wasn't your typical 4-4-2 setup, it was more asymmetric, where opposition had a hard time to predict their structure.
Carrick. Michael Carrick's in here. Ran Gomez.
And speaking about their style, during the mid-2000s, teams like Mourinho's Chelsea, Benitez's Liverpool, and Sir Alex's United were known for their ability to absorb pressure and then strike quickly on the counter. And for United, it was only made possible by the contribution of these iconic trios, where they scored almost 70% of United's goals for that season. And as soon as they lose the ball, they employ a V-shaped passing pattern, in which from the front two, one would often drop a bit deeper than the other. So upon regaining the ball, the midfielder would immediately launch a long ball towards the more advanced forward. And this forward would then make a back pass to his partner, who is coming in from deep, triggering the defenders to move towards him. This then clears up the space for Ronaldo to cut inside and face the keeper directly.
Into Rooney. Tevez. Oh, this is great. Ronaldo.
Well, many might think this was the sole approach that made them the champions back then, but it was also their possession play that made them truly exceptional. As during their build-up play, Sir Alex consistently aimed for a numerical advantage in every situation. Many teams at that time adopted a 4-4-2 formation, and their front two often marks the center backs. And to counter this, Carrick would often drop between Vidic and Ferdinand, while Ronaldo joins the front three and Giggs drifts centrally as a number 10. So the formation often looks like a 3-3-1-3, and the special thing about this structure was its ability to stretch the opposition vertically, which allowed the front three to directly position themselves near the last line of defense, and provided United with both short as well as long passing options to exploit. Also, this formation created a numerical superiority on all areas of the pitch, where at the front it creates a 3v2 scenario, enabling United to bypass the first line of press. And when the ball is being played wide, Giggs, who was playing at center, would drift into the half space near the ball. So using this structure, it immensely helped United to get through first as well as second line of press quite easily. However, United didn't always build up from the back, as opponents at that time didn't dare to send more players up front, which made it difficult for United to create spaces at the back and were usually roamed around the half line. So to counteract this, instead of 3, Sir Alex would position 6 players in the attacking half, with the wide midfielders moving inside to act as number 10s, and the fullbacks pushing up to take on winger roles. This forced the opposition to ignore their zonal markings in favor to man-mark these overloaded players, which then opens up gaps among them. So United capitalized on this by launching long balls into these gaps, and with the oppositions being busy with 1v1s, it was easier for the front line to use their speed to break through.
Carrick. Oh, Giggs is in here. Ryan Giggs!
But when United lose the ball during these process, rather than pressing on the ball winner directly, they aggressively targeted his potential passing options and tried to intercept their connections.
Zuvaloon, West Brom trying to play themselves out of trouble. Might not get away with it though, because here's Ronaldo.
And if United's initial press is bypassed, they would drop back to a mid-block where they apply one of the successful system that helped them to regain possession, which they called 1+3 support pattern. For example, when Ronaldo loses the ball and immediately presses the opponent who has it in a 1v1s, then he'd be considered the primary presser, or the one in the 1+3 pattern. And behind him, Sir Alex would direct 3 players to encircle the ball carrier from the left, right, and center, aiming to create a diamond around the opponent, and these players act as supporting pressers. So whenever the opposition get past the primary presser, one of the supporting pressers would step in with another player joining as a new supporting one. And like this, they constantly pressurize the opposition and regain the ball back quickly. And after regaining the ball when they finally get into the final third, they would often split the opposition's defense in half. So what does that mean? Well, United often transitions into a 2-3-5 structure when they attack. So for instance, when the ball is played back to Ferdinand, and when he tries to attempt a diagonal pass to Ronaldo out wide, the player who is in the half space makes a wide run during this process. This drags his own marker and Ronaldo's marker near the flanks, which cuts off the opposition backline into half. And simultaneously, United's central players takes on the remaining oppositions inside the box. So a quick cross from Ronaldo can be disastrous for the opponents to contain and results in conceding. Also, they had an interesting crossing tactics, where both the wide sides of the 5 were positioned to stay wide, while the rest 3 were given an interesting roles, where one would target the near post, drawing the attention of both center-backs and the goalkeeper, while the other 2 were given the freedom to roam according to the space created by the first player's movement. This often led to a 2v1 advantage over the opposition's fullback and ultimately increased their probability to win the ball from crosses and score.
Tevez, Ronaldo is onside! Oh!
However, these freedom of movements completely changes when they're defending, as they move back to their strict 4-4-2, where every players were instructed to stay within their positions. And during the opposition's build-up, Sir Alex preferred not to engage in high pressing with his forwards. Rather, he made a mid or a low block and invited his oppositions to advance further. One of the reasons for this was to create space behind the advancing opposition and basically hit them on the counter into those spaces whenever they win the ball back, effectively turning defense into attack.
All the way to
that's great
Tevez.
play. That is great play.
Rooney's away at the left.
Now let's discuss the most important part of the video that made this tactics effective and enjoyable to watch. So looking at the keeper, Van de Sar was a standard goalie. He rarely went out to sweep the ball and was not used in the build-up unlike many goalkeepers today. At defense, Ferdinand would be the ball-playing defender on right. Rio was the main outlet to look for when playing out of the back, and he could easily find any of the front 3 with his excellent ball-playing ability.
Ferdinand.
Yeah, that's the ball for Louis.
Zaha's after it.
While on flanks, Evra was more of a wingback, as he pushes higher than West Brown and can occupy the space left by Giggs or Ronaldo once they inverts. At midfield, Carrick would be a deep-lying playmaker. He would often play deeper than Scholes, and form a temporary back 3 when needed, which allows the full-backs to take off. Also, he had an exceptional long-rangers and was the originator of United's counter-attack from deep.
Carrick.
And Scholes acted as a roaming playmaker. He was more of a connector between the 2 lines and used to interchange positions with wide midfielder or the forwards. While on right, Ronaldo would be an inside forward, who usually stays a bit higher than a typical wide midfielder. Also, he inverted most of the time and attracted more markers towards him, which created spaces for others to take on and score. And speaking about the front 2, Rooney acted as a deep-lying forward. He was more of a creator amongst the 2. Rooney's ability to drop deeper and draw defenders out of position facilitated United's attacking patterns. While Tevez would play as an advanced forward, he had plenty of strength as a striker, allowing him to lose defenders easily and break their defensive lines.
Tevez is in here again. He was definitely pulled back by Olsen. Advantage from the referee, and Tevez takes...
And looking at Sir Alex's player instructions, it was totally different from what we see today. Back then, there was a surging trend of counter-attacking football, so rather than applying control or attacking mindset, most managers used to play with a balanced style, which gave them the chance to hit teams on the break while maintaining their structure. Speaking of width, Sir Alex liked to stretch his team both vertically as well as horizontally, and kept a higher tempo in order to apply their quick transitions, while their defensive structure was kept as balanced, as they use a 4-4-2 mid-block in order to attract the oppositions further. And speaking about final third, players like Ronaldo and Scholes were given the freedom to take shooting from far, also to apply their V-shape passing. They used a lot of through balls during counterattacks, so it's kept as shoot on sight and through pass. So overall, these tactics may not be applicable in today's era, but back then, many managers took inspiration from this and clinched titles in the seasons that followed. And using these concepts with right kind of players, it undoubtedly made them the best United side that we ever witnessed. And perhaps there won't be any manager like Sir Alex in the future for United. But speaking of managers, there was just one team capable of beating this United side constantly and caused numerous frustration to Sir Alex in that time. And that team went on to become as the greatest team in modern football and cemented Pep Guardiola as a top-class manager. So what was the tactic that enabled such success? I've explained this in this video, so hope to see you there. And if you enjoyed this analysis, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, which will help me immensely to create more videos like these. Thanks for watching, guys.